What up? Welcome back to Life with Dr. Amanda. This is Dr. Amanda.
Who are you?
I am Mr. Dr. Amanda.
Ew.
Yeah.
Is that your intro?
Intro. Boom. Check it. Money, yeah?
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm here again with my special guest, Mr. Chisholm, Mr. Dr. Amanda, as he said. But this is my husband, this is Raf, and we've done a few videos together now, and I've actually seen that you guys really enjoy it when we sit down and we talk about us, marriage, all that kind of stuff. And so Raf has agreed to doing a series now, a bit of a regular spot where about once a month you're going to come onto the channel, we're going to sit down and talk about, you know, pressing issues, things that are on our mind, and maybe a bit podcasty style, just talking about things especially to do with marriage as well. So today is our first one, and you're right there. Today's our first one, and we are talking about marriage and money, sharing with you a bit about our money story, but also I put a little question onto Instagram asking what your questions are about marriage and money, relationships and money. And really, we're not experts in this, we're not marriage experts, but we have been married for quite a few years now. We do have experience of these things, and so we're just going to share with you what we do and just a bit about ourselves. So yeah. What should you call it? So I think that when me and Raf do our videos once a month, I thought we should call it Chisholm Chats, because, you know, with the Chisholms we're chatting. But Raf was like, that's dead.
That is dead.
Is it? I'm really bad at names.
That is dead.
Okay, fine. So we're not going to call it that.
Let's call it forward chat. You had a back chat. No, I'm joking.
Wow, okay.
I'm really
Leave
joking.
down below what you think we should call it.
I'm
But
really
anyway,
joking.
let's get into it. Right. So I thought we could start with a bit about our money background, where we both come from, like what our money history stories are, and then we could talk about what we do in our marriage. So yeah, Raf, you go first. Tell us a bit about your money story.
Money stories, never had any until now.
That's your story.
Yeah. I don't want to say I came from nothing, because I didn't come from nothing, but
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
I was a PP kid, which means pupil premium, which means free school meals. So I was a free school meal kid, working class, as someone put it, from work, bottom of society.
Like, who says stuff like that? But yeah.
So yeah, essentially, my mum didn't have a degree until later on in life, which obviously affects the amount of money that she can pull in.
You single mom.
Single mum, yeah, single parent household, 2 kids, yeah, benefits a lot, all that kind of stuff. So although I did actually, what I've come to realise, even though I didn't have much money, I gained quite a bit of cultural capital in terms of the places where I might have seen, the things I got to do, even though money was tight. So mum hustled to give us what we needed. So as soon as I had the opportunity to, I was working full time by 17. Yeah, I got a full-time job when I was 17, paying minimal bills, paying 30 quid a month to my sister who I was living with. The rest of it was all for me. So
Isn't that such a good sister?
yeah, she
30 quid a month? Like, that is not okay.
yeah, £30. So literally my only commitment was £30 to my sister, maybe £30 for my phone bill, and that was it. Everything else was spent at H&M on my lunch breaks and drinking. That was it. Every month. Still got to the end of the month not having any money left. So that was obviously no education in terms of money and how to budget. So I learned everything hands-on. Got a credit card, got an overdraft. Didn't necessarily use them until I needed to. When I learned how to navigate through financial hardship, I then started using credit cards and overdrafts and things like that. But it was all learned through experience. When I did realise what I was doing, I consolidated everything. And ironically, by the time I knew exactly what I was doing with money, I didn't have like a spreadsheet budget, but I knew what I was spending, I knew what was coming in, I knew what was going out. I was at a point where I wanted to better myself, make more money. However, I fell through the cracks of like society, I guess. I was working too much to get any help with my situation, so I couldn't get any help with rent or anything. But I wasn't making enough money to pay rent and food and all that kind of stuff. So I was working 2 jobs whilst at college. I guess I made smart financial choices. I moved into cheaper accommodation and things like that. So I have experienced no money. I've experienced some money. I will experience more money. The thing that I would kind of summarize though is that I've realized money comes and goes. It's on a cycle. Like, there's no point stressing about money because there'll just be more money someday. So that's my financial journey. I don't know if it makes sense, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So my financial, like my money background before meeting Raf was really, really quite different to what Raf's described. So I grew up in a 2-parent household. Both my parents had quite high up jobs. So my dad, he went to university. I don't even know really what he did. He did a lot of like leadership, managerial roles. I don't know what else to say, but yeah, he was.
Oh, he's a trans monster!
He earned well. And my mom, I think when I was much younger, she worked part-time, but from what I remember really, especially like secondary school times, she would work full-time. She was a nurse, so although at the time you didn't do university for nursing, she still did higher education, and she did quite high up managerial, high band jobs as a nurse. And so as a child, there wasn't really much want for things. Now saying that, my parents, they did very well for themselves. They saved a lot from what I can see, and they had things set up very nicely. We were able to have lots of really good experiences, so extracurricular activities. We were in lots of different sports. We did instruments. We went on holiday at least once a year abroad, and so there was lots of things like that. But it was never that everything was handed out to me by any stretch of the imagination, because we always had to work for things. So there was pocket money that we'd get, but there was also additional things if we did more work. And also my as soon as I turned 16, I had to get a job. And I remember I really wanted a job like in a restaurant, like a waitress. I remember I wanted to work in Nando's, or I wanted to do like shop assistant kind of job. But apparently I took too long finding a job that my dad just went to my aunt who was like the manager of a nursing home, and said, is there a job that Amanda can do? And so at 16 I started serving tea in a nursing home, and when I turned 18 I then started being a carer, and I did that throughout medical school until I finished and became a doctor. And so I've always had to work. My parents, although I would say I grew up middle class, but my parents grew up working class, and so their mentality was still very working class. Like if you speak to my parents, I think they would class themselves as like working class people, or because that's how they grew up. Like, they're first generation children of immigrants, and so they definitely still have that mentality. So we never had like all of the, you go to school, or I see like some of my cousins have like designer trainers and designer everything. We never had any of that. We had good quality things, but nothing designer, nothing really expensive for kids. But we would have really good experiences. And yeah, when I went to university, that was my first kind of thing of independence when it came to finances. And what happened was that my dad, he paid my accommodation, I believe. And the plan was that I would get student finance, but I wasn't supposed to spend it. I wasn't supposed to touch it.
So what are you supposed to do with it? Look at it.
He wanted me to save it because basically there was lots of things changing. He was starting his own business and stuff, and he just wanted me to like save it. He was like, just don't use the money, you don't need to, because my dad would pay accommodation and my mum, but he knew that situation was changing in a few years, and that's why I had to save it. And my mum and my aunt at the time, they gave me a bit of money each month, and so I used to get about £180, and on that my dad wrote me a budget, and I was supposed to do all the things on that, and anything more that I wanted. I had my caring job, didn't I? But I didn't do much caring during the term time. It was only holidays. And I remember the first year, I just didn't know things about money. There was I was told to budget, but I didn't understand a lot about it.
Yeah, but don't spend your student loan and you got £45 a week to spend.
Yeah.
On
like food.
So what about the social aspect?
I wasn't supposed to be doing anything.
Mad thing.
Yeah, social aspect. I guess I wasn't expected to do anything, and I had my money that I saved from summer, from caring. So I think I was supposed to use that for other stuff. Okay. But basically, this is what I had. They wrote a budget for me. I was supposed to stick to the budget, and I had an overdraft because when you get on a student account, and I went into my overdraft, not really understanding what overdraft was. I used my student loan. And so to the point that my dad was like, okay, well, if you're going to just use this money, you obviously don't need my money. And he was like, you've got to use your student loan now. And so it was very much about, you've got to look after, my parents helped where they needed to, but they tried to give me lessons in money. But still, there was a lot that I didn't know. Loads that I didn't know. And then we met, and I guess things changed from there. But that was my money story, really. I'm a big spender, is what I've learned. I like spending money. I'm a spendy person. I can spend money very easily. I'm not like a natural saver, which is really annoying because that's what I want to be, but I'm just not.
But you know what's interesting though?
Yeah.
Cause obviously you're saying you're a big spender or whatever.
Not compared to maybe other people.
No, I know, but I mean, I feel as though your, I guess your financial journey is why you're that way, innit? It's mad when you deep the fact that you had £45 a week to spend at uni, where people want to go for something to eat, might want to go for a drink. Obviously you don't drink, but still want to go out for something to eat, want to go for a drink. How much did I spend on American football? Yeah. That wasn't even anything.
Oh, that's true.
Do you know what I'm saying?
That's like uni sports.
Yeah. That's mad.
Really, yeah, it wasn't very much. But but on the budget it was fine.
I know, but going gym, I went to the gym, I played American football, probably played five-a-side football as well. Then everything else, that's mad. So the fact that you're now at the point where you say you're a spendy person, that's very understandable. Whereas for me, when I was growing up, everyone around me had all the tracksuits and Nike and all that kind of stuff, and now I'm just like, well, if I want it, I'm gonna buy it because I can afford it.
Yeah, and you know what? You know why I say that I'm a spendy person? Because I've always had a budget that I'm supposed to stick to, and I guess both of us, we're quite frugal with things. We're always trying to get a deal, and so sometimes I want things to cost less than they do, but they don't, and so I feel like I'm spending a lot, if that makes sense. But yeah, I had £45 a week. What can I say? I did my food shop on that, and to be honest, my course was quite busy, and things like that I needed, my parents would pay for. So say I was coming home, I didn't have to find train fare from that £45 a week. They would pay for my train to come home. But if I wanted to get a train to somewhere else, I wasn't going home to my parents, I would have to pay for that.
You were also in nice student accommodation though.
My halls?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was alright.
Yeah.
But then
I'm not trying to say her parents were really cruel.
No, it was just they weren't cruel. They paid for what they needed to, but they just thought that I'm there to study. £45 a week. Where are you going? You're trying to be a doctor.
Yeah,
is basically it. But yes, that was it. And then so basically, then we met, and it's funny because Raf, you don't really remember this. I don't know why, but basically, if I needed anything when me and Raf were dating in uni, I would just ask Raf, and Raf used to send me money and pay for everything because he was working and I wasn't. He just covered all the things, and so I guess like maybe my parents didn't know what I was spending so much because Raf just like looked after a lot of it.
Which is mad to me because them times I was broke. That's mad.
Did you feel like I was draining you?
Nah, not really.
I don't think I asked for anything like ridiculous, but I just didn't have any money, so you paid for the stuff.
Yeah, it was just like, obviously if we were doing something I was paying. It occurs to me now, but at the time it wasn't really an issue. But like, yeah.
I had £45 a week. I had no money.
So when we got married, I had just started uni.
Yeah, you were in first year of uni.
Yeah. So, I'd finished my first year of uni.
Yeah, I think we were in first and fifth year together.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I was getting my student loans and stuff were with Amanda in consideration. So she was a dependent, blah blah, which meant I got a little bit more money, which was nice. So we had that, and then you obviously had your first salary.
Yeah, and the thing is, I feel like especially in the first year we were really frugal with money because yes, we probably got about 10 grand, I would say, from student finance, and you also had like a little part-time. I think that's Pure Gym.
Yeah, was that Pure Gym?
Yeah, I think you were working at Pure Gym. It wasn't much. It was like less than £500 a month you'd get from that, I guess. Something like that.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, something like that.
Small.
But it was still, an extra £300-400 a month is pretty, makes a difference. And then I'd have my salary as a junior doctor, F1, first year out of uni. And although people, think doctors earn lots, you don't earn lots when you first graduate. And my salary was below 30,000. I can't remember the exact figure, but it was in the 20s. Right. And so, and because of that, I don't know, even before we got married, because we were finding somewhere to live and had to look at what we could afford, from the get-go, I just said that we are doing our finances together. I don't know, it wasn't even a question to me. We sat down to do our finances, like, what do we have in? Let's just put the budget together. There was no, what are you paying for? What am I paying for? It was just we. And that's just how it works in my head.
Which is quite interesting. Because that's not a model that you grew up seeing. So the fact that was your idea and that's how you wanted to do it, I thought it was quite interesting, especially knowing the fact that you were going to be earning a lot more than I was. I thought it was quite interesting that you wanted to do that. Yeah.
Because it's true, I didn't see that as a model. That's another thing to say. This isn't to say this is what you should do in marriage, but it's what we do. My parents, from what I've seen of their finances, I think they do things quite separately. I think they obviously pay things together. They have like a house and everything, but I think their finances are quite separate. And I think even like my grandparents as well, their finances are quite separate. I think, like, I know my grandma, she's been like, Matt, give me some money. So I think it's all quite separate. And so I didn't see it, but it just made sense to me because I just felt that we're doing life together, like everything, our goals are together. Like I didn't see a reason for it to be separate. I didn't understand why. It just seemed like an extra pain point if it was going to be separate. And also, I think it's important that I brought it up too, because yes, like you said, if you just, at the time, you would just decide that you wanted to be a teacher, you were at the beginning of your studies, and so you weren't earning that much at the time. And also, even once you went into the teaching field, yes, when you get quite high up and stuff, head teachers, they can earn quite similar.
Yeah, I could be on big money.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, but they can be on similar to doctors. But if you just look at a basic doctor salary and a basic teacher salary, everyone knows that those are quite different, right? And so knowing that, and although now that as time's gone on, what's going to happen to our finances for both of us are completely different to what we thought about at the time. But knowing that's what might have happened, I think it's really important that I was the one to bring up that we share things. And be so open about it, because I think especially when there's two quite different salaries, it can sometimes be like what I said, a pain point, either one partner feeling that they can't ask for money or that it's not their money. I think I just gave that permission. I just said straight away, this is us, this is our household, it's a household income, it's us. and that's how we do it.
I feel like, to be honest, if we were to be quite separate about it,
Yeah.
and we just pay bills, it'd be like rich friend, poor friend, innit? So you'd be like, oh, so I really want to go out something to eat. I think we should go Nobu. I'd be like, Nobu, that ain't happening. Like, yeah, I think it would have been, the dynamic would have been a mazza, to be fair.
Yeah, it would have been weird, but that's the whole thing, isn't it? Like, you've seen people, right, who have like borrowing money from their partner because they haven't got enough that month, and
yeah, it's like, yeah, so I had to borrow so much from so, and it's like, what do you mean? Yeah, it's just wild. I think it's wild. Like, you shouldn't be from my perspective, you shouldn't be taking loans from, like, if I just want to bless you with some money and be like, here, there you go, that's totally different, innit?
Yeah, but we're talking about in marriage, innit? In marriage, I don't think that, because the thing is, when you get divorced as well, this is the thing why I think you should all be together, because when you get divorced, there's no my money and your money, unless you've had a prenup or something. When they look at it, they say all of your money, what's in all of your savings account, I don't care whose name it's in, and that's because that's what marriage is supposed to be. You're sharing it all together. And so we share absolutely everything.
But yeah, so the way that, well, they like the monthly breakdown, we sit down, spreadsheet, put this Amanda, and we budget for everything. Now we budget when I say budget for everything,
Everything.
You say it's a zero-based balance.
Yeah, so I call it's a zero-based budget, which means that once you've allocated all the money, there should be zero left at the end of the budget.
So you allocate money to savings, you allocate money to ramping money, whatever, like everything
miscellaneous
is accounted for.
Yeah.
So like if your sinking fund, so yeah, whatever you just everything is like it's going there. So even when I'm like, right, well, the boys are linking up next month, it's a Monday assemble, I'm gonna be doing X, Y, and Z, it's gonna be quite costly. Amanda's still like, yeah, put it in the budget. Whereas I'm like, no, but I'm doing this and that. Yeah, put it in the budget and we'll swear. Yeah, just put it in the budget. And I'm like, right, okay. So like everything goes in the budget, and then whatever's, like we say, whatever's left over, not left over, but once everything's allocated to what needs to be spent, that's when we then
needs to be saved.
And what needs to be saved, etc. And that's when we then allocate some money to personal accounts as well.
Yeah, so then we split. So whatever's left over is usually a set amount, to be quite honest, each month. But we split in half, and then we both have that put into our personal accounts. And what you do with that money is completely up to you.
And you know what's funny? Because like my two friends that were privy to the whole budget thing. Like when Ebbs is like, wait, you get a trim how often? I'm like, yeah, but it's in the budget, innit? Like, no matter what I do now, it's like, oh, it's in the budget now, innit? Like, and it just works. Like, if you budget for it, no matter what it is, it's blessed.
Yeah, I think sometimes people see budget as like a hindrance, or like you can't spend this. But I've heard it said lots of times, a budget is like permission to spend. Once you've budgeted it, and I've put in the budget that I'm allowed to spend, I don't know, £100 on some clothes or whatever this month, then I can go spend that £100 and feel no way, because I know it's not taken away from something. Whereas if I didn't budget and I went and spent £100 on something, then I'll be like, oh, should I have done that? But like, you just know it, you know what you're doing. So that's how we do it. Everything's together. We discuss all our, like we said, we discuss everything. So like, if he's going away somewhere or I'm going away somewhere, we budget for the petrol that we need. We budget for, how much food, like, are you going to get 3 takeaways there? How much is that going to be? We budget for all of that. And so we don't discuss every single purchase that we make, because we don't have to discuss everything that we purchase, but we just end up doing it. Like big purchases, no one's going to go out and buy a car or a sofa or a TV without talking to each other. But even the smaller purchases, we still discuss.
Yeah.
Just because that's a habit that we have. And I think it's just because we talk like all the time. If we're not together, I feel like we're always talking.
Yeah.
And so like if I popped into the shop and I'm getting some shoes, I'll be like, oh, babe, I'm getting some shoes.
You need a little nudge in it sometimes. Like, I need a nudge to buy stuff.
Yeah, I don't need a nudge. I'm a spendy person.
Yeah, I'm tired. I'm looking for everything on sale. So sometimes when things aren't on sale or it's not as low as I'd like it to be, I'm like, yo, should I? Do you think I should? And you'd be like, yeah, like, do you need it? Yeah, but it's
really annoying actually. Like helping Raf to shop can be a bit tedious sometimes because you just don't want to do it.
No, I can shop. I don't like to spend. I hate to spend money. Remember when I bought when I bought my first iPad, and I had the money for the iPad. I had all the money for the iPad there and then.
Yeah,
and I was just like, £400? Are you mad? Big man, give me on finance.
Yeah, it was so strange. It was when we were dating. You went to go. It was on your birthday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He went to go and buy himself an iPad, and he just didn't want to spend the money that day. It was weird.
I spent a whole £400 right now on this. Nah, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, so I literally. Finance.
It was interest-free finance, 6 months payment and whatever. I put £100 down, and then when it came to the end of it, I just gave him the £300. I was like, nah.
Yeah, which was strange to me because. Yeah, that's the thing. So that's what I mean. I learned a lot from you about borrowing money because I didn't even think about finance as an option. Do you know what I mean? Like you were just like, oh no, I'll put on finance. I didn't even think about that. I didn't even realise people did things like that. And
I didn't need to do that.
No, you didn't need to. But I'm just saying, we would never do something like that now. But like, if we had the money, we wouldn't put something on finance. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we wouldn't do something like that now. But because I wasn't really familiar with credit and debt and stuff, in the beginning we did get into debt once I like started using credit cards.
Do you know what?
Because I like to spend. Just
because you've got the money to spend it there and then, sometimes it's okay to spread out the cost if you can, and it's not going to hinder you. That's the way I see it. But again, just I hate to.
Yeah, so we still see that differently. So there's still, even though we do all our stuff together, our finances, we still do see some things differently. So like what you just said, I don't really agree with that, but it's okay. Like it's not a major issue, and we're not gonna have some arguing about it.
It's not costing extra, but
But yeah, there's things like that we don't quite agree on. But in the whole thing, you know, basically we do things together, don't we? And we budget everything, zero-based budget, and now because we really try not to borrow any money unless it's very planned, and we have we have a clear plan for it. We don't use credit cards like on a monthly basis. We just spend the money that we have. Basically, we live within our means.
Cash. So questions from Instagram, then we'll do your questions. So, first question is, should married couples always share all their finances, or is it okay to keep things separate?
Yeah. We share everything, but we keep things separate as well. So, like, we have at the end of the month, or like at the end of the budget, we still have our own personal accounts, and we still put money into that. Some things that we can't see everything that we're spending from that money. And we have accounts that we both don't have access to. But yeah, so I think that's fine to do that. I think it's important to do things together. Although, like I said, there's lots of successful marriages that I know personally that don't do that, and it's fine. But what I don't think is okay is if you are going to do things separately, I don't think it should be secret. So I don't think you should have a secret savings account or secret investments. Like if we were to do things separately, if I was to ask you what's in your account, you should be able to show me right now. Like I should know what's in all of your accounts. There's nothing separate. And the reason for that is like, if you look at law, when you get divorced, that secret savings account you thought you had, it's going into the divorce part, isn't it? And it's getting split. So, unless you've got a prenup. But yeah, I just think you can have your separate stuff, but there shouldn't be secrets with spending.
I think it is imperative that you have something separate. We have a Monzo account. On Monzo, it is everything that is spent, you see it straight away. Money that goes in, money that comes out, it shows it straight away. There's been some months where we haven't separated our spending money, so we're just spending it from the joint account.
Don't do that.
Like I'm at work, I'm teaching, in the middle of an explanation, and my watch goes off, and I'm like, "Rah, what? £20 at Greg's?
£20 at Greg's?
What's going on?" Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't need to know that, and Amanda don't need to know when I'm spending £50 at Nike or whatever. Like, there's certain things that we just don't need to know.
Yeah.
So it definitely needs to be separate. Debt you should be building up debt separately.
Yeah,
That's
I don't feel like you should be building up savings separately unless you're building up savings to surprise the partner with something.
Thank you. Birthday gifts and all them things there. So like, I feel like it's really important. Again, like, how am I supposed to surprise you with your 50 country cruise for your 30th birthday when I've got to put it in the budget? You see me? That's not happening. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it needs to be separate. There needs to be some separate things.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed.
And I also feel like the judgment that I would get from you sometimes when you see how much money I'm spending when I go out, like, yeah, it'd be mad. Like,
I don't judge.
Yeah, rounds are cheap. You see me?
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not involved with that. But yeah, separate's important. Secrets are a no.
Yeah. Second question. How do you come to a compromise, especially when one doesn't believe in 50-50?
Okay.
How do you come to a compromise?
The way that I'm going to answer that is, what if you're not aligned on your finance? Like, what if what you think you should do with money, the other person doesn't think you should do that? How do you compromise on finances? That's how I'm going to read it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just going to read it like that. Do you want to go first?
So, if you two are not aligned on that, and basically it's just a case of, I made this money, I'm going to spend it how I want to spend it. You made your money, you spend it how you want to spend it. If you can't convince that person to change that, you just got to secure the bag. You got to secure the bag. You've got to get to a point where, hold on, you've got to get to a point where you're making mad money too, and then humble them and be like, look, so this is what we're doing, this is for us.
But what if they're making mad, what if I'm already making mad money but you just don't agree with what I'm saying?
I've got to up my levels.
Okay. What I think...
if I'm honest, I ain't got a clue. You should do that. What do you mean? If they're not seeing 50-50, you can't teeth that person when you can't make them do something.
No,
like that.
But what if you're not seeing? What if one person thinks we should have separate bank accounts and the other person believes that we should have everything together? What if you're not aligning on that? How do you get yourself aligned? So the way that I see it is that
you can't.
Yeah, like, you can't move forward like that. You can't move forward not being on the same page. It doesn't matter which page you choose, whether it's separate accounts, joint accounts, but you've got to be on the same page. And so what I would say is that you've got to... why we picked this topic as well is because money is so important when it comes to marriage. It's one of the top reasons, I think it's like one of the top 3 reasons why people get divorced. And so it's so imperative to get your money situation aligned and, you know, synchronized. And so I would say go to marriage counselling.
Do you know what? Nah. Yeah, okay. Cool, yeah. No, do you know what I'm actually thinking? Genuinely. Hear me out. So, if the person that you're with doesn't believe in 50-50, obviously, when it comes to like bills and everything that needs to be paid, like, you still need to have a joint account because the Sky bill's coming out of this account.
People do that.
The gas is coming out of this account, but how do you know that it's paid or not?
Yeah, they just do it.
Still set up a joint account just for bills, to settle those bills. But if this person does not believe in 50-50 and they want to do 60-40 or 70-30, just make sure that person pays. Like, they understand that, well, I don't want to put in this and that. But okay, well, you need to understand that you make more than me. We're married. We've got a family together. You want to see us eating. So if you're saying I'm not going 50-50 because you make more money, then you need to put more money in.
Yeah, I'm just like, you need to get down to the root of it. You need to go to marriage counselling and you need to find out what the issue is, why you're not aligning, why does that person not want to compromise, why do you not want to compromise, is there trust issues, what is it? Because this is something that can break down your marriage. So go and get some professional help, better than we can offer. If
you don't want 50-50, you got to pay your way.
But you're just saying 50-50. I'm just saying, what if they don't align on whatever in it? Maybe it's not that, but like, if you're not aligning up on if your financial...
Oh, hold on. Yeah, no. The reason why I say that is because if this person doesn't want to do 50-50, then you can't expect me to pay half the mortgage because you already recognise that you earn more than me in it.
Yeah, but you're reading into this so much more than what is in the question, that you made this whole scenario. I'm just saying, forget the 50-50. What if like their financial plans aren't aligning? They need to align so you can have a successful marriage. We know that. So go and get it aligned, go to marriage counselling and find out what's going on. You might make such a specific scenario. I don't know what the scenario is.
Can I get heated for this person? Okay. Yeah, cool. Go to counselling. Okay. Should you be getting married if you have no money for the wedding? Straight away, no thinking, yes.
Yes!
I am sick of people spending bags and bags and bags on a day.
Yeah,
on
get
a
married.
Day. Why are you starting your marriage off in debt? It's foolishness.
Yeah.
And what's more important, one day, or like, if at least if you're gonna blow the bag, blow it on the honeymoon.
Yeah.
Like, enjoy 2, 3, 4 weeks in paradise. Like, on one day where you're feeding everybody and they're gonna complain about it anyway.
Yeah.
Foolishness. No.
So there you go. Anyway, I completely agree. If you are ready to get married, the whole thing is that marriage is like a journey. It's a lifelong thing, right? So who cares if you don't have the money right now? What, you're going to wait another 5 years for? What? For why? Like, if you're ready to get married, go and get married. Everyone can afford a wedding.
But what if it's cultural though?
Huh?
What if it's cultural that it has to be a big wedding? Foolishness. Foolishness. I'm sorry. What if your family's putting pressure on you because, yo, this person needs to come and that person needs to come, and are they going to be in your house living with you when you're fighting and you're vexed and you can't pay the bills? Are they going to be there then? Yeah. No, they're not. So whatever you can afford. Listen.
Everyone can afford a wedding.
We spent a very modest amount on our wedding. We paid for the majority ourselves, apart from the food.
Yeah, we had. Listen, anyone can afford a wedding, right? Yes, so my parents paid for the food.
Yeah, grandparents.
And our grandparents gifted us some money, which we used for our honeymoon.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it, Raf got a grant, and for uni, and because it was because he like had a dependent, his wife, whatever, he got more.
Well, we budgeted it.
And so we spent £6,000 on a 250 person wedding. I think it's 260 guests that we had. And it was, and you know what, put some pictures of our wedding. It was a beautiful wedding. Nothing about it screamed cheap or anything like that. We had a lovely venue. I had a beautiful dress, and we did things frugally. So you know what? And the thing is, if we didn't have £6,000, if we just had £1,000, if we just had £100, if we just had £50, maybe we'd have to save another month and get £100.
You do need, you do need some money to pay for like your wedding license or whatever.
Yeah, it's like 30 quid.
Yeah. But yeah, I know people.
Go and get a dress from ASOS.
People spent more on their venue, not the catering, not anything like that.
Just the
they
venue.
spent more on the venue just to be in that place than we did for our whole wedding, including the honeymoon.
Yeah.
Like, nah, it's absolutely crazy to me. Like we was like, yeah, do you know what? I was like, yo, should we get like the wedding car? Should be like a Bugatti or should it be a Ferrari? Or I was like, you know what? Let's get.
Like, how am I sitting there?
Let's get a Rolls. Let's get the Phantom. Let's roll up in the Phantom. £750 for 3 hours. My wedding day, I'm not gonna need it for 3 hours. I'm gonna need it all day. You're trying to tell me 3 hours for £750? Nah, it's nuts. So what we did instead, we rented a car. Still a nice car. I think it was like it was a C class. It was the latest model at the time. Got a C class. Rented it for 24 hours. So that was the wedding car. We then drove that car down to the airport to go to our honeymoon as well. Like, it just made sense. We filled it at once.
Basically, you're ready to get married, go and get married. And obviously, we're talking about this from a Christian perspective, where there's several things that we waited to do. So we didn't like live together. We didn't combine our lives until we were married. And so why am I going to wait another 5 years because I don't have the money for it? What don't you have the money for? You don't have money for the wedding of people's expectations. Go out to H&M, Zara, ASOS, get yourself a dress, get yourself a quick suit from Next, get the license done, and go and get married, and then go to the park and take some beautiful pictures. Like, do the thing, do the doing things, go get married.
You don't need money to get married. I mean, yeah, the day is great. But you know what? How many people actually enjoy their wedding day?
I think people do.
No, what I mean by that is, you know, like some people are like, oh, it was an amazing wedding, like, oh, it was great. I'm like, yo, it's stressful. Everybody wants to say hi to you. Everyone's taking pictures. You don't even get to eat food properly. You wake up early. Like, it's just, why are you spending so much money on it, man?
Get married. Right. For those are the questions from Instagram. Thank you for leaving them.
Good questions, I think.
Yeah, they were good questions, weren't they? And I've just got like 4 little fun kind of questions. I don't know how long this video is, guys. If you've made it this far, well done. But yeah, we're just going to do 4 quick money questions and then we're going to sign off. Yeah, so go on. First one.
So I've got 4 questions. The first question is, who is the kite and who is the string?
Yeah.
So, who is the kite? Who's off floating in the wind, being blown this way and that way?
Yeah, no.
Who's blowing the cash? Who's the string? Who's keeping you grounded?
Okay, let's just say before we say who is who, that a kite needs a string, otherwise it just flows away, and a string needs a kite, otherwise it's just a piece of boring dead string. So let's not make one of them seem worse than the other.
Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh, okay. And you know
so
what?
for you to enjoy
That's
yourself,
lovely, That's
for
lovely,
you to enjoy yourself, for you
Mm.
to go to the park and have a good time with your kite, you need the kite and the string. If you have just one of them, you're not enjoying yourself. You're not having a good time. So they're both important.
Spoken like a true kite. Okay.
Yes, I'm the kite.
There you go. Amanda's the kite. I'm the string.
Hold on, unless
in
most situations.
in most situations, however, when it comes to
cars, technology,
I do
Nike.
spend big
Okay, mate.
money.
Yeah, so
I don't spend little bits.
So when it comes to TVs, speakers, cars, it's Raf that I've got to rein in and be like,
Still
yo.
looking for a deal though.
Yeah,
I'm
you're still
still
looking for a
looking
deal, but like, you know, he'll get a car and then he'll be looking at cars like 2 months later.
So the one-off purchases, like, but yeah. So most of the time, Amanda's the kite, but I have been allowed to enjoy being a kite, also. If you won £1 million today, what would you do with it?
Okay, quick fire answers. £1 million, I would pay off the house. Basically, I would use it to free up my income, so I didn't have bills. So I didn't have like bills to pay. So I'd pay off the house. I'd put a load of money aside for all the kids' savings, so it can just grow in some nice little investment. I'd put together a little holiday fund pot, and I'd like make sure we've got like nice cars that are being bought outright. But yeah, basically £1 million, it's a lot of money, but actually you can spend it really, really quickly. Like £1 million is a lot of money. Someone give me £1 million, I'll be like, damn, I faint.
Relatively,
But-
it's not a lot of money.
But once you start talking about paying off houses, buying cars, putting savings aside for kids, like that's hundreds of thousands of pounds getting blown, and there's only £100,000 in £1 million, and so it's not as much as you think. But yeah, that's what I'd do, because £1 million won't mean you can't work. I still work, I still live life normally, but I would have everything paid off and have my income freed up to do what it needs to do. Juan, what you do?
If I won £1 million today, controversially, I think what I'd do is I'd put it all on City winning the league this year. No, I'm joking. What I would do, and I know there's a lot of people that are like, that'd be dumb or whatever, and there's so many things that I could do, and I think I would want to do.
What would you do?
I think what I would
Spit it out.
do is for the first year, I just won't do anything. I'd let it sit there. I'd let it accumulate because it's safe. I do a lot of risky things, but it's just safe. I'd let it build up interest, and then by the end of that year, I'd have more than $1 million. Obviously, I'd have to find the right account, but then all the money that I've made of interest, I would then start investing all that, and then I'd do very similar to what you'd be doing, paying off the house, doing that, making life easier on a day-to-day basis.
That's interesting, because that's a very non-risky thing to do.
That's
But
what
Raf
I'm
is
saying,
like
I take risks.
really, like I thought what he would actually do is take the £1 million and use it as a deposit to buy a £10 million like block of flats, and then just be like, yeah, I know we're £9 million in debt, but you know, I put down £1 million and we've got all these flats. That's what I thought you'd say.
Yeah, so I might do that after the year.
There you go.
What overall vision do you have for our money and future?
Okay. Do you want me to go?
Mhm.
Right, so when I think about our money and our future, I see us being comfortable. Like, really comfortable to the point where, you know, you're not constantly thinking about the stuff that you're spending. Like, I don't want to go to the supermarket and think about, oh, how much was that bunch of bananas? I don't know. I just want to be comfortable, and comfortable to the point where I can give my children really good experiences. I want to be able to help them with their foot, like getting their foot onto like the property ladder, buy their first car, help with their wedding. I want to be able to do that financially for them. I want to make sure they don't have to go into student loan debt. So I want to be able to pay for their education as well, and and I want to be able to like have good experiences, like travel, and be really comfortable in our home too. that's where I see us future wise in terms of money and being comfortable like that. I see us being wealthy in our future, and the reason why I say that is because I think it's possible, and also when you're wealthy you get to be generous, and I think it's really important to be generous, and especially as Christians and showing God's love and everything. Money talks a lot, and I'd love to be able to show generosity and to give to people, be more charitable, and I think that's much easier to do when you're actually, obviously it's more, I guess it's more of a sacrifice when you have less, but when you have more you can give more. So I see us being wealthy, and I see us being comfortable, and I see us being like out of debt. So I just you know what, I want to be one of those people that say they have no mortgage by the time they're 40. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I'd love to be mortgage free in my 40s. Yeah.
I'm gonna go for like the vision side of it, like goals kind of thing. I have zero desire to have Bezos money. Like I'm not interested in being that rich. Like, great if I was, but I just want to be able to spend money, not like copious amounts every day, but I'd like to be able to spend and not have to worry about what I'm spending. I want to get paid and not notice. So how many investments I've got, because I think it's ridiculous that we work every single day, but we only get paid 12 times a year. Like, that's nonsense. So I want to increase paydays, but I don't want to realise when I'm getting paid. Two things that I really want to be able to do. I want to be able to play card roulette when I go out for an expensive meal with lots of friends. And
yeah, because you want everyone around you to be doing good as well.
Yeah. So I want to be able to play card roulette. If you don't know what that is, just everyone puts the cards in and the waiter picks, and then whoever. I want to be able to do that with my friends.
Nobu. With a group of 10.
Yeah. We keep saying Nobu because obviously we don't really know about these restaurants, innit? Like.
Yeah, we went to Nobu for our first anniversary, and it was well nice.
The other thing that I want to do, I spoke about it, but I need to actually start doing it. Is every time I get paid, or just at the start of each month rather, I want to just take out some money, and whatever that amount of money is, I just give that away. So, you know, like, you always get people coming up to you asking for money, or they need help, whatever, like, I've experienced a lot of people now in the city, not even in the city, just in and around places, like asking for money at traffic lights and stuff like that. I want to be able to just be like, yeah, here you go. Like, when people are asking for money, I just like to be able to give them that. So at the start of every month, and I'd like the amount to increase, how much I can actually just take out. And
you want to have just giving away money, not even planned charitable money, just like,
if someone's in need,
yeah, that's what I mean, generosity. And the last question, guys, is what do you think about prenups? Raph, what do you think?
I ain't saying she's a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke.
Yeah, it wasn't a situation for us. We both had no money when we got married, so
yeah, I think
it wasn't a thing.
If you have, if you both start with no money, I think it's kind of like
you can't do a prenup if you have no money.
But if one of you are rich, if I was super rich, and I didn't know Amanda before I was super rich, no, not even Amanda, I think that's unfair. Like, just whoever it was, like, if I met somebody whilst I was rich, I would always be very skeptical. I would feel uncomfortable. I'd always have that doubt in the back of my mind. Are they with me for me or for my money? So yeah, I would sign a prenup.
Okay.
If I had loads of money and that person didn't have any. If that person was peed off and I was peed off, again, like, we don't need to be. But if one of us is in a situation where we stand more to gain from being in a relationship for a little bit and then just splitting, yeah, I'm signing a prenup.
Okay. Yeah, so I think like prenups, I feel like prenups shouldn't really be a discussion until you're getting to like big bucks. Because I've seen people that be like having, I don't know, £100,000 in their savings, and yes, that's a lot of money, but they're talking about prenup then, and I'm like, nah. If you've got £1 million, if you've got like what's your net worth, and it's like Google, like you can Google it, then yeah, talk about prenups then. But if you're talking about like the kind of money that we're dealing with, I just don't think it should be a conversation. But I feel like prenup should come into it when if there's trust issues, or like if you feel like you can't be sure this person isn't in it just for the money. Say you're very high profile, people know how much it is, and you've met after that, it's difficult to say that, you know, you completely trust somebody. and not have that in the back of your mind. And so that just might help with reassurance, and also to give more security to the marriage itself, because that's on the table, so now I don't have to question it. I don't have to have that question in the back of my mind. But my problem with prenups is that, what if you do get a divorce? What if you know, you do a prenup, you've been together for 10, 15 years, you get a divorce because of like genuine things, not because at the beginning you were in it for the money, but because, you know, genuine things, what happen when you get a divorce, there's nothing, you know. And then what, you get a divorce, like that money that person had before the marriage, first 15 years ago, is now coming to the family pot. You've all been used to that lifestyle that you built together, but now you don't have access to that because, say, that person cheated on you or whatever happened. Like, my problem is prenups, if it's a genuine divorce years and years later, and your life has been built on a certain standard of living, and now you don't get it because of a genuine breakdown in marriage. I just think it's a bit weird. So I'm not all for prenups, but if you're dealing with the big bucks, you might have to.
I still also think, if, let's say for example, there's two different ways, like sometimes a prenup needs to be signed, sometimes it doesn't, in terms of, if you're on big dough and I turn around to you and I'm like, look, I don't want to work, I'm going to look after the yard, I'm going to look after the finances, I'm going to look after the kids. That's me saying, I don't want to go to work no more. That's my decision. So when we split, I might become accustomed to a certain type of lifestyle, but nobody told me not to make no money. That was me. Whereas if you were like, do you know what? Yes, like we're making so much money. I just want one of us to be at home with the kids. Obviously, you can't do that. So, like you can't be that main breadwinner that's bringing in £1 million a month. So I'm gonna do that. I really want you to stay at home and do this and X, Y, Z. Mm-hmm. I think that's different because we've then come together and made this decision. Well,
yeah, but no, what I guess what you're saying, but what if you're like, okay, I want to stay at home with the kids, and like, yeah, I think that's a really good idea. And then even if you're like, you're not sure, but because they're at home looking after the kids now, even though it was their choice, you're now able to build on things and be able to concentrate in your career and do all that stuff. Yes, a lot of, obviously, that money that you make after you're married is still between the two of you. But all this, like, I don't know what to say. I've already said what I think about prenups. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is the end of the video, babe. We need to stop talking.
Cool.
Thanks for watching. I know this was long, but hopefully you enjoyed it. Tell us, what do you do in your relationship, in your marriage? If you're not married yet, what do you plan on doing? And if you've got any questions, leave them down below. And like I said, this is going to be a monthly thing, so give us some topics and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Peace.